Hi, friends. When we started this podcast, we promised you real, vulnerable, raw discussions. This episode has all of those things, and as a result, may contain content and conversations that are sensitive to some of our listeners. More specifically, this episode dives into mental health, postpartum depression and anxiety, and suicidal ideation. If you or someone you know are struggling, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year in the United States by calling or texting 988. Good morning, and welcome back to the Undomesticated podcast, where we are tackling all the issues and expectations facing women one episode at a time.
Our response from our first episode was
Amazing.
so amazing, and we just want to thank you for coming back for our second episode. We have a lot more in store for you guys, and we're really excited to just keep having that dialogue back and forth. But mainly, we're just so thankful that you've trusted us to be in your network and be in your cars in the morning. We have learned a lot in a short amount of time.
Have we ever?
We have really tackled a lot of technological problems. And I am convinced that the world of technology and those who run it are insistent on people like us to not be in it.
Right. Yes.
And you know what?
We've
Too bad.
broken in. Thank God for Google, YouTube, and Michael Seaman. That is all I know. And we should probably throw in Reddit because let me tell you, there were some deep dives into Reddit threads.
You wonderful and beautiful people downloaded that first episode with all of its issues. You did it, and you keep us going. And now we're more confident. We're more knowledgeable.
We are flying high, baby. This week, we are keeping with the spirit of Women's History Month and taking a little trip down memory lane to the women who made us.
Woo!
Woo, woo.
We are very thankful for those women. And for a little icebreaker, we texted our mothers to send us a text that they would want you guys to know about us. We don't even know if we should give you a trigger warning.
There may not be a filter.
They're unhinged. There's a reason that we came out of them.
There's a reason we are called the Undomesticated podcast.
Kayla, let's read yours from your mom.
Okay. My sweet mom, Leah, starts by saying, tell the airport story where Tina thought you were yelling, I'm special, while she circled the airport. For some background, when I was very small, learning to speak, my mom was at the airport. For some reason, my aunt and I were in the car alone. We were waiting on my mom to come out of the airport. And my aunt is circling the parking lot, and I am screaming what she thinks is, I'm special, over and over again. Pretty sure she may or may not have ended up backing into a car while this was going on.
No.
My mom gets in the car. My aunt is like, what is wrong with your kid? She is screaming, I'm special. I wanted a pretzel.
Oh, fair.
And so mom says, I should have known you were special. So then I said, okay, but what about something about who I am, like as a person, that you think is funny or you would want people to know? And in true Leah fashion, she says that you're bossy and you talk a lot. Quickly followed by, you're a very serious woman, but you can laugh at yourself. You're more serious about your career and life than most women I know. Driven.
Yes, you are. Okay, here's from my mom. Kelsey was the most beautiful baby in the world. So much so that we called her our little China doll. Kelsey learned just a few years ago, which is an exaggeration.
Maybe.
That she did not, in fact, look Chinese, but just like a porcelain doll. She has always and will always make me laugh. That's one of the million things I love about her.
So sweet.
Okay, my dad, as a child, and my mom would always say, oh, my little China doll, my little China doll. Yeah.
No.
No, it was China, like the porcelain.
And, sometimes you just want a pretzel.
And we're special.
Right. We are special and we want a pretzel.
That's right. Obviously, our moms deserve all the shout outs. I could be here all night giving my mother a shout out. Without further ado, and with hopes our Shania Twain kickoff is here to stay,
Let's go, girls.
Hello again. Episode 2. Kayla, we are so cool.
I know. As cool as we wanted to be in high school. Kelsey and I were not the cool kids.
Oh,
We should throw in some of those first friendship pictures that just popped up on our Facebook memories. And now here we are with a podcast and super cool.
well, I am so excited for this episode because we get to talk about the women who made us.
Me too. And we have both been so fortunate to have some really amazing women in our lives.
Yeah, we would not be where we are today without them.
For sure.
We definitely wouldn't be as funny.
No,
Definitely wouldn't be as cool.
for sure.
So, how about we start with the most obvious place? Grandmas. I call my grandma Mimi. And moms.
I love it. I think that's a great place to start. But let's start with you this week.
Okay, perfect.
Tell me about your grandmas and your mama.
Okay, my mama is named Teresa Dacus. And my Mimi is named Wanda Tomlinson. And my grandma on my dad's side was named Imogene Dacus. Unfortunately, she passed away before I was born. But I've heard really awesome things about her, and we look very similar. My mom is just the coolest cat known to man. Everybody that meets her likes her, and if you don't like her, then there's something wrong with you, because that's my mom, and nobody messes with my mom unless it's me.
Right.
Because I will be the first to call her and be like, what are we doing?
As the oldest child and the oldest daughter,
Oh,
that comes with the territory.
it really does.
It's your birthright.
It's, as we get older, it's very funny because you do kind of turn into the parent. You're like, Mom, did you make your doctor's appointment?
And you also turn into your mother.
Yes. I know. Sorry,
I'm
Mom.
there.
I will say things and be like,
My mother just came out.
oh, no.
Yeah. I opened my mouth and my
Yeah.
mother came out.
Which, now that me and Mom are friends and not mortal enemies, like, I'm like,
Not so bad.
She's a pretty
Yeah.
cool chick. Like,
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I grew up in a very normal home in Sykeston, Missouri, with my mom and my dad and my little sister Megan. And my mom was always very complimentary, very lovey, very big on instilling confidence, which is ironic because I don't think that she knows how awesome she is, and she's her biggest critic. But she raised two women that are very, very confident in themselves and in our love for our mama. So she was a working mom, so she did the damn thing.
Yes, she did.
She was working from 8 to 5, coming home, doing kids stuff. Every event we had, she was there. She just was, was doing it. And her mother is my Mimi, and we are very close. I was always at my Mimi's house. I still am. And she was just, my mom and my Mimi were just almost like one unit to me. One time I decided I was going to move away from my mother and packed my Mulan suitcase with little wheels on it.
Oh, not the Mulan suitcase.
Yep. And my mom just said, go have fun. My Mimi lives maybe 4 houses away at that point. So I walked down to my Mimi's house. Mom ends up coming over. I get hurt in the backyard, and I run over to my mom, and I'm crying. And she's like, no, I'm not your mom, remember? You wanted Mimi to be your mom. And Mimi was like, I guess we can put a Band-Aid on it. Like, did not give me the comfort like my mom did. And it's totally because they were in cahoots.
They were conspiring
to get me back into my house, which it ultimately worked. But that is what it is. They are both just really strong and powerful women that have worked their entire lives and also worked on building women that are confident and successful while also providing so much compassion and empathy and interest in our lives.
Right.
And I was not an easy teenager. As you get older, you realize that moms were also young, like we
Mhm.
were raising children.
Right.
And so we had a hard go there for a while. But now that we've gotten older, we've gotten good doctors,
Mhm.
and we've just been able to understand each other on a much better and deeper level. And I just think that's the coolest part of being a young woman with an awesome mom.
Yeah.
You just get to bond over who you were and who you are and who you're going to be. So, Kayla, tell me
Oh,
about your mama and your grandma.
like you, I have mom and grandmas that are just total powerhouse
Right.
women. My mom is Leah. She was also a working mom. She was a single mom for a while.
Yeah.
And during that time, we lived with my grandparents,
Yep.
her mom and dad. And I kind of got to have two moms
Yeah, that's
during
fun.
that time. My grandma, Mama, is what we call
Mama!
her. Bonnie. She is the very traditional wife. Like, she is the
Yes.
foundation of our family on that side. And
Yeah.
so while my mom was trying to get back on her feet and regain her confidence and kind of discover who she was in this new role with two young kids and single in her mid 30s. She had kids young.
Yeah.
And my grandma really took care of, she would help get us up for school in the morning. She would make breakfast in the morning because my mom had to get herself ready and out
Right.
the door. And so those several months that we
Yeah.
were there, but it seems like
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah.
And I have some really special memories during that time. But my mom is also a working mom, so she juggled all the things.
Mhm.
We never did without.
Yep.
I mean, she would work 2 jobs on occasion to make ends meet. And now, like you, we're able to have this really cool friendship
Yeah.
where I talk to her probably more than she wants to talk to me. She's probably like, "For the love of God, what now?"
Oh, I know.
But we talk all the time, and Matt's like, "Why have you talked to your mom about this?"
It's like, why not?
Why
What was
wouldn't
I
I?
supposed to do?
Right. Why wouldn't I talk to my mom about this? Kayla here. Quick note, I did not do my mom justice on the impact she's had on my life. You'd have to know our story to know why she's so incredibly precious to me, but emotions make me a little awkward, and there are just some parts of my life I'm not quite ready to share yet. Okay, back to your regularly scheduled programming. Love you, Mom. Mama is just I don't even know where you begin
Yeah.
with Mama. So she grew up in a family. Her father passed away when she was like 16.
Oh, man.
And so she went to work, and then she and my grandpa got married. They had 3 kids and made the decision that they were not going to live the way they had been raised.
Yep.
And so they were the generation that kind of shifted the future of our family. Some of our listeners may know, most of them probably don't, but they were pastors of a church for
Oh, wow.
40 years. A lot of really good insight and wisdom that was
Mhm.
passed down
Yeah.
from that side of the family, and cannot thank them enough
Yep.
for making that one decision that just led to the rest of us also having a strong faith. So they were just a huge part of my life. And then
Yeah.
my dad's mom was Mary Louise, and she was a very special lady, but unfortunately passed away from breast cancer when I was 5.
Oh.
So I have some very early memories of her that are very special to me.
Yeah.
And she raised 8 children,
Oh, my God.
and I have gotten to see her through her 5 daughters,
Yeah.
which has also been special. And so, to all of my aunts who I know are listening, who are daughters of Mary Louise, thank you for letting me get to know her through
Oh,
you.
oh
So
my
I did not
gosh.
expect to get emotional on this episode. But anyway, she was very important to
Yeah.
all of my aunts and uncles and to my dad, and we lost a big part of our family
Yeah.
when we lost her. And then on the other hand, there are negative things that come from divorce. There are some positive things, and one of those positive things was I got a bonus grandma.
Yeah, that's fun.
And her name is Charlotte. And she
Charlotte.
has also shared on Facebook our posts and all of those kinds of things. We call her Ninny.
Nanny. Ninny.
Yes, and we
Oh.
love her, and she is also a powerhouse woman. Like, she will tell you how it
Yeah.
is, and she will lay it out, but she does it with love, and you know that she's being honest with you because she wants the best for you. And let me just tell you, the woman has never made me or my brother feel like we were anything other than her grandkids.
I love that.
We were never treated different. It was always just grandkids, and she was always just
That's
Ninny.
so cool.
Thank you for listening, Ninny, and thank you for being a bonus
Yeah, thanks for the shares,
grandmother.
Ninny.
Yes, thanks for the shares.
I think when
We
I
love
have
it.
grandchildren, I want to go by Ninny.
I love it.
That is such a fun name.
It is. I had never heard another grandma called Ninny until we met
Ninny.
Andy's mom, and I love it.
So obviously our family women, which we are thankful and lucky to have a lot of women in our direct family, have had a huge impact, but we also have other very phenomenal women in our lives.
Yes, we have. And they say it takes a village to raise kids. I think it also takes a village to become the woman you are meant to be or want to
Absolutely.
be.
Yep. Now, I'm not sure who originally said this, but the quote, strong women, may we know them, may we be them, and may we raise them. Kayla, you've climbed the ranks in a male dominated field, and we have talked before about the multiple women that took a chance on you.
hmm Yeah. And before that person who's already typing an email to us right now, yes, I have worked for and with some incredible men too. I'm very fortunate right now to be working for an excellent man, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're
Not
celebrating
today.
women.
Yep. Women's
Right.
History Month. We get a month, okay?
Right. We get 1 month.
You guys get approximately 12. Who are some of these women for you? Who are the people, not direct family, that has had an impact on you?
When we decided to do this episode and I started thinking about who these women are, I could seriously
Same.
talk for a day. We could
Same.
do a series and each one of them could have their own episode.
It's true.
I am going to condense to the degree I am capable. And my mother would tell you, again, her first comment was, "You're bossy and you talk too much."
We both talk too much.
Oh, yeah. So I chose to focus specifically on the women who impacted my career trajectory because we've talked about this kind of ends of the spectrum that you and I are on. So I wanted to make sure I focused on the women who have really had an impact on my career. And going back to the beginning, I started my career when I went to St. Louis. So I started in 2006 in high school as a part-time teller at a bank in Sykeston. But when we moved to St. Louis, Matt and I were engaged. It was 2012, 2013 when I started. And there were two ladies who hired me, Jenny McIntyre and Suzanne Yeager. And we had an incredible team of women. And we were all women except for a couple of lenders and our community president that was in the branch.
I wonder how it felt to be the minority as a man.
Right. And so we spent a lot of time together and we all developed these beautiful friendships together that we still.
Yeah.
That was the first time I remember working in an environment where it was about women building each other up. I am telling you, there is no one who cheered louder for me other than my mom when I got promoted or got new opportunities than the people in my own
how cool
little
is that?
circle.
It gives me chills to think about that because it's so hard as women. You hear constantly about this woman's jealous of this woman's success.
Right.
This woman's jealous of this woman's size. Whatever.
Right.
As we get older and we form these new friendships and our friendships are looking different now that we're moms, it is a different kind of special.
Yes.
To really and truly want success for the person in your life and the friends that you have. And seeing that in action, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, I think so often we're taught there's only so many spots for women to be successful. So it's all about competing against each other. And you can be friends, but don't get too close because when it comes right down to it, it's going to come down to one of you or the other and who's going to come out ahead.
You're exactly right.
So thankful for those ladies. One of the other ones that was in St. Louis, Tracy Thomas is another one, but I will never forget So she was super supportive through a lot of the transition of us moving away from St. Louis to Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah.
But one of the things she told me was, Kayla, you're not successful because you've mastered a certain skill
Right.
or a certain knowledge base about banking.
Mhm.
You're successful because you're an incredible communicator. And as someone who had been told my entire life that I talked too
Yes,
much,
and you're bossy.
yes, that I
Yeah.
was bossy, I talk too much, I'm too much, I'm too
Yes.
loud,
Yes.
that sometimes it's okay to just be quiet. You don't
Right.
have to always have
Right.
something to say. To have someone breathe that life into me and
Yes.
say, I see you
Mhm.
and you are a communicator.
Yeah.
And that is what's going to take you where you want to go.
Yeah.
Was this is going to seem like an exaggeration to some, but it was life changing for me
Yeah.
because it totally, in that one moment, in that one sentence that she said, changed the way I saw myself
Yes.
as a woman in business. So
Amazing.
incredible.
From one loud and bossy woman to another.
Right?
That's so awesome.
Yes.
Because it's so true. For so many years, especially in our early 20s, you learn if you're too loud, if you're too opinionated, if
Right.
you're not quiet and comfortable and grateful
Mm-hmm.
for everything you've been given,
You're lucky to be here.
right, then you're just too much
Mhm.
and you're crazy.
And it's going to end up hurting you,
Yeah.
not helping you. Yes.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I quite literally am crazy. Like full diagnosed.
Mine's just undiagnosed. It's fine.
Sometimes it's better that way.
Right.
But there are also women like that in my life that have really said, I love how loud
Mhm.
and vibrant and
Yes.
funny you are. Where sometimes, like, I'll leave a dinner just be like, oh,
So anxious.
yeah, I talk too much. I
Yes.
said the wrong thing. I did this. I
Right.
did this. And it's really been a growing process learning how to go, I was awesome
Mhm.
and I was kind and I was loving. And if they don't like me, then that's
It's
what
not
it
my
is.
table.
Yeah, it's not who you want to be friends with anyway.
Right.
It's been years and years of unlearning, but having women like that that can validate you in who you are in your existence is truly life changing and career changing.
Yes. Yes. And so I've had a couple more
Yeah.
that I would be remiss not to mention. One is Marita Thomas, and she took a chance on someone who had only worked on what we call the retail side of banking,
Yeah.
teller, branch management, and took a chance by making me a mortgage lender
Ooh.
with zero experience. But she led with grace and she addressed things and she candidly just took a chance. She saw potential. She was like, listen, I think we could do something with this. And we did it. So thankful for that one. And I think these two tie in really closely to each other because while I was working for Marita,
Yeah.
we started talking about the importance of mentorship
Yeah.
in growing in your career. She knew my long term goal was to end up in a C suite
Yeah.
position. I was going to the top.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things she told me was that it was going to be important for me to have other women who were in those sorts of roles. And keep in mind, Marita was in a senior leadership role
Right.
by then. She had decades of experience
Yeah.
in the industry.
She was a corporate baddie.
Yes, corporate baddie Marita. And she had a knowledge base of her own and very easily could have said, I know everything you would possibly need to know, but instead encouraged me to seek out other women
Yeah.
in those kinds of roles. And that woman happened to be Jocelyn Baldner. And Jocelyn, I know you've commented on some of our posts.
Hey, Jocelyn, I love your
And
name.
she is now the first female CEO for Central Bank of the Ozarks. And not only is she the first female CEO for Central Bank of the Ozarks, she's the first female CEO in their holding company's history. Kudos to you, Jocelyn. It was a hard-earned,
Truly.
well-deserved position. And she was the first formal mentor
Yeah.
I had where we would meet on a set cadence. We would go have lunch and we would just kind of solve the problem. She was also the one that told me, and candidly, and Jocelyn, I don't think this will surprise you if you're listening, it insulted me a little bit at the time.
Okay. Yeah.
But looking back was an important lesson and something I needed to hear.
Yeah.
I wanted, and you'll appreciate this because you've known me for so long,
Of course.
I wanted step-by-step instructions
Yes.
for if you do this, you will end up here. And Jocelyn said, Kayla, I cannot give you a step-by-step guide to how to get where you want to be.
Right.
You're doing the right things. You have to be open to learning and building your knowledge base and developing your leadership skills. But I cannot tell you
Sure.
if you do these 5 things,
Right.
you're going to end up in this position. And I always thought it was so crazy to hear people say, I never planned to end up here.
Right.
Because I was like, what do you mean you never
Yeah.
planned? I've planned out the next 30 years of my life.
Right.
And life has taught me over the last decade and then some that candidly, again, we've talked about me being a faith-based person. God does not care
Mm-mm.
what your plan is.
No.
And mine have been wrecked
Yep.
over
Yep.
the last decade.
Yeah.
So her saying that again at the time, I was a young, cocky, like, oh, just line out what I need to do and I'll
Right.
do it
Just
and
tell
I'll
me
be
who
at
to
the
call.
top in no time.
Yeah.
And instead, now looking back, I'm like, there really wasn't a roadmap. And I can tell you then the position I thought I would be in is not the position I'm
Right.
in. I didn't even know the line of business I'm in existed
Yeah.
then. So there really is no roadmap and you don't know what you're going to encounter that might totally shift
Yeah.
the direction you thought you were going to go. So I'm really thankful for her leadership. I guarantee you I could still call her today and say, I just need some advice as a
Yeah.
fellow woman in this type of role in this industry. What do you think?
Right.
And she would be there. She is a true woman's woman. All of the women I've mentioned
Mm-hmm.
are.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful to have those women that it wasn't about competition. It was about, look, I see another woman who's got some potential. She's got the drive to do it. And I'm going to help her
Yeah.
skip some of the lessons that I had to learn the hard way. And so the last woman that I will mention has a special place in my heart because where I was in my life. So when we moved back here, Levi was 2 weeks old
Yeah.
and we had moved 4.5 hours away. The banks I had worked for where we were before were not around here. And Matt and I decided, he was like, take your time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had gone through this kind of period of, do I even want to stay in banking? If I do want to stay in banking, what do I want to do? And he was like, look around, decide if that's what you want to do. And met someone who worked for a bank and told me about this fintech
Mm-hmm.
division, which is financial technology. And I read the job description. I fit most of the criteria.
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot. It was
Right.
a remote work
Yeah.
position. And so I interviewed with a lady by the name of Sheila Moore. And
Okay.
let me tell you, I don't know if I have ever met a woman with more grace and
Okay.
understanding. So at a time when I was questioning everything, I was
Yeah.
a new mom.
Mm.
I had a 4-month-old baby at home. We were uprooted and living in my husband's grandmother's home.
Yeah.
And I went through this interview, and all of the moms out there are going, mom brain, right?
Yeah.
I had worked in banking for a long time. I knew what I knew. And it was like she would ask me a question, and my brain
Yeah.
was just like, not today.
Nope. Not today.
And so she would just give me a little push, a
Mm-hmm.
little nudge. And she always framed it as a question.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm sure in your position as X, you probably
Right.
dealt with a lot of
Why?
Y.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be enough
To get your brain
for
jump
my
started.
brain to be like, yes.
Yeah.
And when I did that, I dealt with all of these other things that I can use as an example to show you why I'm
Yep.
qualified for this position. And when I interviewed for that job, within 30 days of taking that job, I was like, this is what I've been looking for. This is the pace. This is the complexity. This is the
Right.
excitement. I'm communicating with the type of professionals on the other side of our relationships that I have been craving. So, Sheila, if you're listening, thank you for taking a chance on a new mom and for leading with grace and for giving those gentle nudges that were enough to remind me of all the things I already knew that were buried in there
Yeah.
and pulling those out.
Hidden behind a postpartum veil.
Right. The fog of new motherhood.
It's so sad. And you're so vulnerable.
Yes.
I mean, you're relearning your body, you're
Right.
relearning your mind,
Mm-hmm.
and you're learning about this kid that just showed up.
Right. Your body's wrecked. Your mind is wrecked. you're sleep deprived. There's this child that depends on you to stay alive.
Yes. Your breasts are just out
Wrecked.
for
Everything's
months. Yeah, it's
everything's
ruined.
wrecked.
So, yeah, I mean, it is. I remember feeling that way when I had Piper. I just remember feeling, and I'm not one that feels vulnerable, clearly. I'm loud.
We
I'm
love a chronic oversharer.
I'm a chronic oversharer. I'm confident. But I remember sitting on my couch like 2 months postpartum and just feeling so vulnerable and scared, and I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know who to call. When all of those hormones deplete,
It tanks. And it's like all of
100%.
a sudden,
Yep. You're crying for
yes.
hours.
I looked at Matt a day or 2 after we got home, and I
Yeah.
was standing there. I had been having hot flashes in the middle of the night, like waking up
Yes.
soaked
Yep.
in sweat. My mom was there for the first week, so she was helping with some of the late night stuff so that I could get some rest. And I just remember standing there in front of him. I had taken a shower, and he said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I just feel like I need to cry."
Yes.
And I am not a crier. I am not emotional. But I just remember being like, I don't know what is happening.
Yes.
But I'm about to explode and I'm just gonna burst into tears.
Yes. It's scary.
It
It's
was
scary.
It was terrifying.
I know. Let me throw out a disclaimer that if you are a new mom, you are postpartum, you're having deep feelings of depression beyond just a day or 2 days of just feeling sad. If you're feeling like a deep dark depression that your child doesn't need you, that your child would be better off without you, if you're feeling overwhelming anxiety, that could be postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety. And we really encourage you to talk to your doctor about that.
Yes.
It could save your life.
Yes.
Truly.
Seek qualified help.
Truly. All right.
That's a really good transition because you have had the unique opportunity to be in the workplace.
Yeah.
You were a working mom,
Mm-hmm.
but you've also gotten yourself involved in several philanthropic efforts.
Yep.
You've got other stay-at-home mom friends, and so I'm really excited to hear your perspective on kind of the melting pot of women who have influenced your life. So tell us about them.
Okay. So my entire family, with the exception of maybe 2, we are all girls. Multiple aunts, multiple cousins, the majority of our cousins being girls. I have so many women in my life. It's just like I'm surrounded by women constantly. So if I were to sit here and tell you about every single woman that has impacted me, even in my direct family, we'd be here all day because they're all really awesome and unique and powerful in their own right. Going back, though, outside of my direct family, for those that don't know, which I'm very open and very public about it, I was diagnosed with bipolar 2 disorder just last year, but did not know that in college. And I went through about a year of a very, very dark episode. It was what we now know as a major depressive episode. And what that means is I shut down. I had to take a break from school. I could not even take care of myself. And I just didn't want to be here. And I was in Springfield, and my we call her my second mom from high school. Her name's Tracy Burden, and she just kind of took me under her wing throughout high school. And her sister Tony invited me to live with her and her husband Dawn out in Fordland, Missouri, which is this little farm area. And I was in such a dark place, and I was just really thankful because I feel like everyone else in my life at that point, because I was so unlike who I am, had written me off But anyway, Tony took a chance on me, and I stayed there, and I wouldn't get up until 3 p.m. And she would come in and ask me if I wanted to go out on the farm or look around. Or Dawn would come up and knock on the door and say, "It is noon. Get up. What are you doing?" And I was just I really, really am thankful to them because I don't know if they know it, but they saved my life. And after living with them for about a year, I was finally confident and able and in a place where I felt like I was worthy of love again. So I got involved in the Miss America organization and I became Miss Springfield. And through that, I worked with multiple philanthropies, but my platform was children in foster care. I was able to meet so many different women through that. I have a lot of not so awesome things that I have to say about being in the pageant world, but I will say that the confidence that I gained in interview and learning about things outside of my direct world was something that I'm very thankful for regarding the Miss America organization. When I got out and I moved to St. Louis, I worked for a woman-owned business, and my boss, her name's Dawn, and my CEO was a woman named Kim, and they were both just so awesome and someone that I admired and wanted to work hard for. I really loved the company that they represented, and they were just as good-hearted as they were bosses. And anyway, from there, I got married. I moved here to be closer to my mom and dad. I have gotten involved with a lot of different philanthropies here. Currently, I work for the Lacey Elkins Foundation, and Lacey was one of my really close friends. She passed away from pneumonia in November of last year. She was incredible, and she was a huge advocate for those in recovery from substances, from alcohol, eating disorders, and she would help people get into treatment whether they had insurance or not. So when she passed, her husband decided he wanted to start a foundation in her name, and I was happy to take on any role in the company. But knowing Lacey was to know love and grace and compassion and hard work, and I am thankful that she was a part of my life, and I'm thankful that she's leaving a legacy even now. So I know that we said we weren't going to involve direct family members in this little portion, but she's my direct family member, but also my best friend, and that is my baby sister. Her name is Megan Justice, but our entire lives, we've never been in competition because we're both so different.
So very different. Yes. Worth noting, Megan is also responsible for our fabulous artwork with the silhouettes.
Yes, she and her husband are very knowledgeable. So we've been reaching out to her quite often, needing some help. But she has been such an impactful force my entire life. Even though we've been so different, she's been there through it all, no matter what. And somehow, even after all the different phases of life I've been in, she still admires me as her sister. And I've done a lot to not earn that. I'm thankful that she loves me and gives me grace throughout, and that I get to love and learn from her as well. This quote says, "Our parents leave us too early. Our spouse and our children come along too late. Our siblings are the only ones who are with us for the entire ride." And that quote's from Jeffrey Kluger. He is an editor of the Time magazine, and he's also written a book called
The Sibling Effect.
We'll put that in show notes.
Yes.
Okay, and I have one more woman that has impacted my literal entire life. Kelsey Priday. And, well, Kelsey and Kayla Priday are twins.
Sure.
So let's count them as one.
Right.
One collective, beautiful female. Because Kayla is our sporty girl. She's our sporty spice. Kelsey is our baby spice. And I'm the ginger spice. For my 30th birthday, we had a whole Spice Girls birthday party. I came in and they were all dressed in a Spice Girl shirt, and they bought me a ginger spice costume with the matching wig.
I love it.
And tall white platform boots. And so I'll attach a picture.
You went all in.
Yeah. Kelsey has been my best friend for my entire life. Like, truly my entire life. Her parents and my parents were, and still are, best friends. And we have been there through it all. We're very, very different and have loved each other through every phase of life. And now our daughters are best friends. And it's just beautiful. She's just the kindest, most genuine, pure soul. Kayla offers a little bit more sass and always makes me laugh. I am just fully complete with those two women as my best friends. Always, no matter what phase of life I was in. I knew that if I had no one, I still had.
Truly do not remember a Kelsey Dacus without a Kelsey Friday.
No, we were in cahoots.
Always.
The best friends. We still are.
Always.
I mean, it's crazy. But anyway, I love you, Kelsey. Thank you for everything that you've given me, and I am who I am because of you.
We love you, Kelsey and Kayla, from Kelsey and Kayla. And now here we are.
Here we are.
Doing a podcast in the hopes of being those sorts of women. We could not be sitting here on this fabulous couch talking through these things and being vulnerable if it was not for all of you who have supported our crazy dream
Truly.
of launching a podcast with zero qualifications.
Yeah. I'm going to say it again, 0. And there are women out there who might not have had such stable lives as we did.
Sure.
When we were growing up, we were lucky to have very involved moms, very involved grandmas, very involved aunts. There are people that don't have that strong network of women. So we wanted to talk about how can we be mentors even if we don't have strong women in our lives or we weren't surrounded in the comfort of women.
I think for all of you who are listening, and maybe you're relating to the woman Kelsey just described who has not been able to have women in her lives. Maybe you aren't in contact with your mom and your grandma. Maybe you don't have women in the workplace who have taken the time to invest in you. And so, one, I'm sorry that you have not gotten to meet those women. And I hope that you still encounter that woman at some point.
Yep.
I would challenge you to ask yourself, how can I be the woman I needed for someone else? There is a woman in your life, a young woman, an older woman, a woman your same age, who needs that support, and we can start the trend.
Totally. We can be the woman that stops the generational traumas.
Yes.
If your mom wasn't there, or your mom wasn't a present mother, or your mom was battling something that now as an adult you understand more clearly, the buck stops here.
Yes.
You can make that decision to be that person that you needed.
Yes. And if you need help doing that, we did not plan this, but I'm going to give a plug to the Lacey Elkins Foundation. Yeah. Reach out to the Lacey Elkins Foundation. You can find them on Facebook.
Yep.
And reach out, send a message. They are able to put you in touch with resources to get the help you need to be able to make that change and say, this stops with me.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, if you have been as fortunate as Kelsey and I have, and you have those women in your lives, life is short. Reach out to those women. If you haven't already, tell them. Tell them what an incredible impact they've had on you. Say, hey, I really feel like I would not be where I am if it wasn't for you. Men, that includes you. All of you have a mother.
Yeah.
Okay. Those women that you've had in your life are important, and they deserve to know that they are important to you and have had an impact on you. Oh, man.
Well, now that we've cried and we've laughed, it's my favorite time. Do you know what time that is, Kayla?
Is it time for wine and wine?
It's time for wine and wine, baby. Yay! Play that jingle. This is my favorite segment, as you all know, and sometimes it just helps to vent. Am I right?
You are so right. So what are you just absolutely fed up with this week?
Many things, but I'm going to focus on one. And it came to me a few days ago, and I was parked behind a very, very large white van. And on the back of the white van, it said, "Mom to these little monsters" or something. And it was a monster mom and a monster dad and little, like 6 tiny little monsters bumper sticker. I don't, number one, there's a creepo.
There are
behind
creepers.
you that's like, okay, they've got 6
Right.
monsters.
Yes. And you know, I saw on social media, they took a picture of the stick figure family
Yeah.
on the back of a bumper sticker. Dad had on like a military uniform. And he was like, "So I know dad is military. He may be deployed on a regular basis, which means mom and 3 kids are potentially home by
Mm.
themselves. And what you can learn
Right.
about a family just by looking
Yeah. At
at these
their
little stick figure bumper stickers that are cute and they're fun. And that one was monsters.
Yeah.
So, you put a quirky little twist on it. If you're listening to this episode and you're driving around Cape Girardeau, Missouri with a bumper sticker on about 6 little monsters, we love you.
We hope you change it though.
Yes, we just want you to be safe.
And also, we've got Kayla, the reformed people
I am the
pleaser.
reformed people pleaser.
Right now, she's relapsing. So let me just say this. Number 1, it's not safe. Number 2, and this is the big one, it's horribly
Not cute.
tacky.
They're not cute.
They're
Okay.
not. I don't know why she just lied to
I
you. but
confess, they're not
I'm
cute.
here. The bumper stickers gotta go. The monsters, the little dog ones, the stick figures.
It's the equivalent of the 90s "My child is an honor student"
Yes.
bumper sticker.
So on that note, let's all join together. Join forces. Stay safe. Take off our little stick
Right.
figure people. While we're at it, let's knock out the Tweety Bird ones. Let's go ahead and tackle those ungodly, tacky political ones.
Little boy peeing on stuff.
Yeah. Okay, moving on.
Yes. Mine is another one that's probably going to be an unpopular opinion. I'm just
Yeah.
full of these.
I can't wait.
It's the sourdough craze for me.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong, I love a good sourdough. It is one of my favorite breads. And I say favorite breads because I do not discriminate when it comes to bread.
No.
If
never.
it's carbs, sign me up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even going to ask you what kind of bread it is. If you say, "Do you want bread?" The answer is
the
yes.
answer is yes. Yep.
But the inundation of the obsession
Yeah. Yeah.
with sourdough, the discard recipes, the pictures of why does my sourdough look like this? How do I get my starter going? Why have I had so much discard? Why am I not getting enough discard? I'm like, can we please just take a break? Bring me a commercial break for
Yeah.
something else. Show me pictures of your kids again. I love those.
Yeah. Bring them on.
But Kelsey, for the love of God,
I know.
if I see one more sourdough recipe or one more Facebook group created
there's
about
so
how
many.
to do sourdough, I see them pop up as like suggestions.
And don't invite me to join.
Right. I'm not
tired of
starting
joining
sourdough.
groups.
Ask Matt, Mr. Kayla.
Yeah.
There is a sourdough starter kit in my cabinet. It has been there for 2 months.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
asks me about once a week, "Are you ever going to use that?" I get there's a lot you can do with a sourdough starter and
Yes.
discard, I guess. But I'm just like, it's all I see on.
I know. Now
Social
you're almost
media.
keeping it in there out of spite.
Right. Yeah. Is it really that you were interested in sourdough and that you think it's benefiting your family for you to know how to do it? Or are you doing it because it's the cool thing to do right
the
now?
social media situation. Yeah. I equate the sourdough craze with the Ray Dunn
Oh my
craze.
God. I may or may not still have 2 of those coffee mugs sitting in my
But it's
cabinet.
the
Everything was labeled.
And people still line outside of TJ Maxx for that stuff.
Yes.
It's like, give it a month,
Yeah.
it'll be on clearance.
Have you seen the TikTok videos that are like the girl that goes through and she finds all the Ray Dunn stuff and she
Yeah.
reads the words in this weird, deep, growly kind of
We need to
voice?
put a link on our show notes because that
We should.
is
They are
hilarious.
hilarious. And I always thought they were kind of cute and quirky. We were into like the farmhouse style at the time. I have the mom and dad coffee mug. I
Right.
had one that said Boss Babe. If you listen to episode 1, go back and listen. I had a pillow that said Succeed. I was all in
you were
on the
in it.
Ray Dunn.
You were in it.
And I had never really thought about the fact that a lot of it was literally just labeling whatever it was.
Totally.
You had, oh my God, it really is just like mug, letters, table,
No, I know. And
notebook.
The plastic bins that just say storage. It's like,
Right.
well, what the heck else was it going to be? Pencil.
Pens. Yeah.
Pens. It literally,
Right.
on the pencil,
Pens.
says pencil.
Notebook, notes, list,
List.
groceries.
To do. I need no part of that, Ray Dunn. You got to get a little more
Yes.
creative.
Okay, so you got a bonus wine
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're here for.
That's your incentive for tuning into episode 2. You never know when you're going to get a little bonus rant. but Ray Dunn, it's a whole thing.
We could do a whole episode on that culture.
Why?
Boss Babe, sourdough, Ray Dunn.
Yes, because I am telling you, the Boss Babe coffee mug, which is no longer in my cabinet,
Thank God.
maybe that's where the root of the
The
hatred for Boss
Mhm.
Babe came. I just overdid it.
You
I was like-
you boss babed yourself too many times.
Yeah, I was speaking it into existence.
You're one of those rare instances in my study that I'm participating
Yes.
in right now about boss babes who are actually boss
Mhm.
babes that like boss babed yourself and did become a boss babe.
Yes, we've wined and we've wined, although our wine for this evening is Clear American Peach.
Yes, peach sparkling water.
Yes.
Kayla's on a diet, which means I am forced to be on one as well.
She's wine deprived.
I'm
tonight.
wine deprived. And honestly, the way that I've been crying like a little baby tonight.
Probably for the best. So how would you rate our fine peach sparkling
Oh.
water?
Honestly, and I mean this, I hate water but I don't hate it as much as I hate sparkling water. This is so good.
Yes.
I give this an 8, which is
Nice.
shocking. My husband literally is probably passed out on the floor right now. Like I
Kelsey
give it an
drank
8.
water and she rated it an 8. Yes, I would go with a 10 out of 10. It's always a 10 out of 10 for me. I brought it. I keep Clear American in my cabinet.
Yep.
And I'm sure there's somebody that's going to come for me about the artificial sweetener. I don't care.
You've already seen my day in the life.
I don't care.
If
Right.
I die,
Wait, Truvia is stevia, which is a natural 0-calorie sweetener.
is it really?
Yes. You are so healthy.
See, I'm coming for all you using artificial sweetener.
You'll be on the sourdough trend next.
Next on Wine
Kelsey.
and Wine, artificial sweetener. Even though for years I thought I've just been eating artificial sweetener.
Well, here's a toast to all the bumper stickers being tossed out like yesterday's sourdough by a woman with a Boss Babe mug.
I knew that was coming and it's still funny. Thank you guys for continuing on this journey with us. As you can see, sometimes we talk about things that aren't fun and light, and sometimes we spend the entire episode on something fun and light. So you never know what you're going to get, and we're just thankful that we have created such an awesome network of women that we can be vulnerable with, and we hope that you guys feel comfortable and confident to be able to reach out to us as well.
Yes, we are forever grateful for all of you, the women we've had in our lives. We are also forever grateful to the wonderful team at South Fork for once again allowing us to film in their beautiful showroom. If you're in the Southeast Missouri area and are looking for home decor, lighting, and more, look no further. Stop by South Fork to meet their amazing team and see all the fabulous things they have to offer.
Yes, and you know that I am a woman that loves a good study. I would love to take a study on whoever comes in here and doesn't find something absolutely stunning and worthy of buying because, like I said in last episode, the stats are low, baby.
You can't be in South Fork without finding something you need, but you can tune in next week for our next episode dropping Wednesday at 5 a.m. Central and every week thereafter.
Yes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, anywhere that you can stream a podcast, we are now available on. Please feel free and leave us a review. The more reviews, the higher chances we get to be on a national podcast platform. Give us a download and a follow and share with your friends.
Yes, please share, follow along, subscribe, and we will see you next week. As a reminder, all opinions and views shared on the show are solely those of Kelsey and Kayla and do not represent opinions or values of the organizations we work for or represent, our filming locations, our guests, or the family and friends in our lives. Artwork for the Undomesticated podcast was created by Megan Justice. The Undomesticated theme music is Beach Day in Boston by Sarah the Instrumentalist, and the theme for Wine and Wine is Follow Every Move by Radio Night. The Undomesticated podcast is produced, edited, and published by Undomesticated LLC. For more information about the podcast and your hosts, visit www.undomesticatedpod.com.